Gaslighting. What is gaslighting? I get asked this question quite a lot. And gaslighting, when you understand what it is, it feels like it's quite difficult to explain. So gaslighting works in a way that it's a denial of that person's reality. That in itself isn't the gaslighting. There's kind of 2 or 3 steps to it. So the first step might be in the case of if in a relationship there's a question of fidelity. So somebody might say to their partner, is there something that I should know about? Is there anything going on? And the response would be, no, there's nothing going on. That's step 1. That's not gaslighting. That's just answering a question. But then that person might go on and say, but do you know what I'm really fed up with? I'm really fed up with these paranoid questions that you keep asking me. That's what I'm really tired of. And I don't know if my face actually showed that as well. That is gaslighting. That basically throws back what the other person has asked in such a way that it almost twists it around so that that person who's asked a question, which is valid for them, has been undermined by a question as to its validity, and actually, more importantly, a question about that other person's worth. And that gaslighting, where in a sense you are blaming the other person for asking a question by throwing it back at them in a negative way whilst undermining their self-confidence. That's what gaslighting is. And that one example is an example of gaslighting, but gaslighting happens not in the one-off. It's something that is consistently in place, so you are constantly undermined by that other who is gaslighting you, to the point where you might question your own self-worth, you might question your own confidence, you might feel so underwhelmed that you're no longer strong enough to ask those questions which are really important for you. And that fundamentally is the manipulation of the gaslighting, and the intent from the person who is gaslighting you is to assume that position of power over you. Now, that person who's gaslighting you, they may not be doing it out of malice, they may not be doing it to hurt you. It may just be mirrored behaviour from their childhood and their upbringing, and they are unaware of it. I always like to think of that in a positive way, but the reality is that gaslighting is very often a very successful tool for manipulators who want to maintain their power within a relationship, or it's a useful tool to deflect from the facts that they may not want to share. It's a very powerful tool, and in my opinion it's a negative tool for the person who's on the receiving end, because it's hard. It's really hard to be with. It's really hard to manage, and it's really hard to maintain your self-worth if you're the person on the receiving end who is constantly being berated for just being themselves. I hope that this has helped in a way support your understanding of gaslighting. Hopefully it shed a light on it. And if you are in a relationship, or if you are experiencing gaslighting within your life, then there are ways and means to cope with these situations and to evoke a change. But remember that you cannot change the other. You can only change yourself. Anyway, that sounds like another vlog. Thanks very much for listening. Take lots of care. Bye.